Hi, wrestling fans. Thanks for clicking today's dreaded D Rose report. There's talking in WWE about doing a Cody Rhodes, of course I told you, and a Goldust feud at some point over the next 6 months. And the talk is, if they go through with the program, Goldust will turn heel early in 2014. So I noticed he already went to the dark side on that on the pay-per-view. He had the dark paint on his face. A lot more anyway. Alright, and a few people in WWE Creative is coming up with angles for Bill Goldberg versus Ryback. And in case something gets worked out for WrestleMania 30, it's not a done deal, but something being talked about. And there's chances of Goldberg versus Ryback happening because both sides have not closed the door on a WWE turn. I think Goldberg actually wanted to wrestle Undertaker, but well, I got more on that later. But anyway, Brian James or BG James, BG Road Dogg Jesse James, whatever you want to spell it out. Anyway, he's been gaining more influence in WWE as late. Part of the reason is because of the Michael P.S. Hayes being sent home a few weeks ago. And noted, here's what the deal was. He first said that he was giving Hayes time off to deal with some personal issues. But anyway, last night, word came out that Hayes may have been suspended indefinitely for, of all things, offering alcoholic beverages to Rosa Mendez just a few days after she returned to work from a stint in rehab. Some people just, I don't know. Alright, Hayes has been working with Triple H on doing live bookings, you know, among other things, and James is now filling that position. As it was described as James being on the rise because Hayes giving him the opening. So, you know, if the door opens, you usually walk through it. Plus, he talks the language of the wrestlers. Alright, WWE is turning Damien Sandow babyface soon. Well, it looks like the discussion was this year to have Sandow cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase but lose it. We don't want Cena being the only loser. The idea appears to be off the table now, and it looks like the World Heavyweight title run is in his future. Sandow reportedly was told to stop doing cartwheels and singing. Part of that gimmick is done by NXT Aiden English down in FCW. But word is Vince McMahon feels that on the main roster if someone's doing the same gimmick as someone in NXT, it makes the main roster guy look amateurish. I think it makes him look like the genius. We don't need no more of that stuff. And Lanny Poffo used to do a great cartwheel, if you remember. I tried to forget, but anyway, for what it's worth, people in WWE believe that Hogan is staying with TNA. At the same time, there are people in WWE that like to have him for WrestleMania 30. But the question is, do they want him bad enough to go out and outbid TNA? Why? I'll tell you here in a minute. It was noted, WWE source, that if they put either Randy Savage or Ultimate Warrior in the Hall of Fame next year, Hogan could do their induction speech, plus an angle in a mid-card heel on an actual, with a mid-card heel on an actual pay-per-view. Why? Well, The Rock and Steve Austin very questionable about WrestleMania 30, and Hogan could be the person who delivered the big numbers for WWE. And last year, WrestleMania numbers were kind of disappointing, and there's feeling that The Rock appearing for the 4th straight year isn't going to pop the numbers, this next time around. Unless a major outside attraction there also, comes in, and there's also feeling that the only thing that will get WrestleMania back to the previous numbers is an announced retirement match and final match for The Undertaker. Something big with Hogan or something big with Austin. That's the only way they're going to get their way over $1 million. And they want to always outdo the last year. Alright, as noted before, the only person in WWE signed from their recent training camp down south was Dylan Miley, who's the bodybuilder type with a 37-inch vertical leap. While some of the people in the camp have been told to, the past few days that they will be signed, Davey Richards, Eddie Edwards had not, heard anything as of October 8th. Both Edwards and Richards there are people within WWE who want to sign him, and Sean Burke, Tony Delfonso, and Todd Hansen are also in the camp with Miley. They got emails on October 7th, and they were told to stay in touch with WWE, is not going to sign them right now. Just hang on. As noted before, Stephanie McMahon was upset with Dusty Rhodes about giving her a face palm in the middle of the ring on segment on Raw 2 weeks ago. Stephanie also upset because in the same segment, Dusty veered off the script and she was trying to steer him back on it. They know that about him. Ain't nothing new. Anyway, many people assumed that WWE bringing back Shawn Michaels and John Cena Hell in a Cell was their response to a negative reaction to Battleground pay-per-view on Sunday, which I thought. That isn't the case, it says, as Michaels was scheduled to get involved in Daniel Bryan's storyline for several weeks, and they were talking about Cena doing the return, last week too. But of course, Michaels and that's one of his proteges is Daniel Bryan. Taught him well too. All right, Ric Flair, where's he been? Well, anyway, he's back to taking bookings. After SummerSlam, WWE wanted Flair to get help, and he canceled existing bookings. Exciting and reoccurring problem: hospitalization with blood clots in the legs. Flair told friends that he was staying in Florida with his daughter resting up and not traveling. And it's unlikely in the Wade Barrett's new gimmick will be Bad News Barrett character as seen on JBL show, but apparently it's going to be a big surprise of something they did on YouTube show that never made it to TV. And still, there's plans to repackage Barrett just because the roster is lacking single heel stars. And normally you don't. There's a lot of heels. Most people would rather be a heel than a face. Several people in WWE believe that former football player turned NXT star Mojo Rawley is the breakout star and most potential right now. And some of the WWE attendance figures, I think they're locked down. And it could be again with people just don't have the money. And they keep upping the price. Syracuse, New York, 3,700 fans. Rochester, New York, 5,400 fans. Albany, 3,500 fans. This is October 4th and 5th. And Ted DiBiase seems serious about putting pro wrestling behind him. DiBiase open to doing single indie dates or autograph showing, but no interest in doing anything on the road for any more than just a few days. But he doesn't want to get away from his family very far. And he's taken several jobs that will keep him busy. And WWE website's got an article up with Brandy Rhodes talking about her husband Cody Rhodes and Goldust went into Battleground. She revealed a photo of their wedding and commented on Cody getting pinned at Battleground. You can see the photo. It's around on the internet. Birthday. CZW regular Joker, 30 years old today, and this would have been the birthday of British legend, the Giant Haystacks, who briefly competed in WCW's Loch Ness. Would have been 67 years old. I thank you for clicking. I gotta go.